is intended only for mature audiences.
Open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's Jmann. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm Jmann.
This is Steiny.
Now, as of December, there was a shiny new toy in my driveway all of a sudden, as you may have noticed.
Car?
Yes. I bought a third vehicle.
Because you needed one.
Well, my beater is going to become my oldest kid's car, and I'm going to need a secondary car, because in Minnesota, you should always have two. If one goes into the shop, you need another one to get around, so you don't have to rent anything. Or, you know, if you got one car that's less nice, you can drive it in the snow and the heavy rain and shit.
Yeah.
And if something happens to it, you still got your main vehicle that's nice.
And you don't put all the miles on one car. That's
Correct.
a huge part of it.
Correct. I like driving the shitty beater to concerts when I have to park in parts of town that are sketchy because it's not so nice that I think anyone's going to want to steal it.
I've ridden it a couple times for shows, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I found this car online at a dealership in Wisconsin. I had looked at their dealership before randomly while looking for cars of this make and model like 2 years ago. And there's a few I almost went and looked at, but it's like over an hour away across the border. So December 20th, I got a bug up my butt. I'm like, fuck. They have a car. It's the kind of car I want. It's Ford Focus hatchback, 2012, 43,000 miles only.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, what the fuck did you just say? And then I called him, and he's like, no, that's not a misprint. It only has 43,000 miles. Single owner. It was an elderly woman. She really only drove it to get groceries or to church and around town to get her hair done. That was it. I'm like, cool. I'll be there tomorrow to look at it. Mm-hmm. Now, I went there with the mindset that, fuck it, I'm buying this car. So I pack up my car with the girls and my lady friend because I'm going to need another driver, obviously.
Yeah,
and I can't have a
vehicles.
14-year-old with almost no road experience drive a car over an hour across the border.
In a different state without a license? Awesome, yeah.
What could go wrong?
Yeah.
So we go, and we make the trip, and it's kind of a long trip. It's through rural parts of Wisconsin. There's all these fucking anti-abortion and pro-Trump billboards. There was a field where somebody took, like, old lumber and spelled Trump with trees. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, you fucking people, commit to the bit.
Well, you know, so much energy to put towards good use, right? You know?
Yeah. So I get to the dealership. We test drive the car. It runs like a dream. It's fucking spotless. I go in the office with the guy. I got it to the minimum they would allow to sell, so $8,900. It was like $9,000 and like $10 pre-tax, because I have to pay the tax in the state that I'm going to title it in.
Mm-hmm.
So I pay via check, which means that they have to mail me the title once the check clears.
Okay.
So they give me 30-day temporary paper plates.
Yep.
Remember that number, 30 days.
Pretty standard.
That was on December 21st, which, if you don't have brain damage, you know is right before Christmas.
Yep. It's also the first day of winter, usually.
We drive it home. We're back here. It's fine. As soon as we get back, you know, the holidays happen. And we had like a cold snap.
Oh, yeah.
And my family, all of us got the fucking flu, or possibly COVID, we weren't sure, over Christmas. So obviously, I'm not driving much. I'm waiting for the check to clear. I'm checking the mail every day for the fucking title. It's not arriving. I call after about 16 days.
Okay.
And I'm like, did the check clear yet? Because now we're into the new year.
Right. Well, you should have been able to see it in your account of whether or not the check...
Oh, they cash the check, but
Yeah.
they have to let it sit for X amount of days to clear.
Yeah.
And it's business days, not days. So, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, weekends, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, weekends. And I'm waiting for the title, and it's not showing up. And then I'm like, oh, fuck, I should go run the car. I haven't run it yet since we got it home.
Uh-oh.
And it sat for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Except it didn't start. And I went, uh-oh. It just went click, 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 click. I'm like,
Battery dead.
Yeah. Yeah. So I popped the hood, and the battery is a bitch to get out because smaller Fords, they cram that shit so fucking tiny under the... I don't know why they couldn't add an extra foot to the vehicle length and just not make it a bitch to get the batteries out. But I've had to jump my other car off of a Ford Edge with the same problem. Battery compartment is hard to access. So I finally get the fucking battery out because it was warm enough to go out there and not have my digits hurt.
Yeah.
With gloves on. And I show it to my dad. It's swollen.
Oh, so it froze.
Solid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoops.
Yep.
Whoops. I'm like, great. So I buy this car. I'm all geeked to finally get it.
Yeah.
Low mileage. I fucked the battery up. But I look at the battery. The battery was like 7 years old.
Okay.
So there's $109 I didn't plan on spending to get the battery. And then I call the dealership the next day, and I'm like, here's the deal. Bought the car, paid with a check, letting it clear. 10 business days. Should be here. Haven't gotten the title. Had to wait a day for a call back. Oh, yeah, well, we'll send that right out to you. No. It did not. I'm shaking my head.
Of course not.
Very voraciously.
Tell me you followed through on that. Can somebody let me know that they actually mailed that out?
Yeah, and so I call him again, and I leave a message for the salesman this time. I'm like, hey, it's so-and-so. I bought the car from you on the 21st. Should be getting the title. Haven't got the title. Heard from a chick. She said it got mailed, but it never arrived. So can you look into that more? He finds out that it didn't get mailed. It got set aside to be mailed. And you want to know why that accident happened? Because my idiot ass bought a car 4 days before Christmas in another state with a check.
Okay.
So it's like, oh, well, that hour and a half distance or whatever it was is becoming a pain in my ass because I can't just
still
bop over there.
Fucking shit. You're not the only one coming from this state over there.
Right.
Yeah.
But the holidays. 2 holidays in the span of a week. So, fuck me. Yeah. So he's like, okay, well, we'll overnight the title to you. I'm like, great. The next day, no title. I'm like, motherfucker. So I call him again. I'm like, I didn't get it, so I don't know what's going on. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll look into it. And then he calls me later. And he's like, you still haven't got it? I'm like, no, it hasn't showed up. He's like, okay, well, I'm seeing a picture of it on a doorstep. It looks like it got delivered. You better go make sure it's your doorstep. I poke my head at the window. I'm like, oh, they threw it under my patio table where I couldn't see it. On the front step. Whoops. I'm like, okay.
You're bad. Yeah.
Well, I got it, bud, and I appreciate it. Thank you. That was on day 26
Okay.
out of 30 to
Right
get the
on.
fucking plates and get it titled in Minnesota.
Yeah, right on. You got the temporary Minnesota plates then?
No. It's Wisconsin, so it's a piece of paper in the back window.
Okay.
That's all it is. It's a huge piece of paper with certain digits and
Right,
shit.
but you're not going to get Minnesota plates right away on it.
I will, because it's being plated in Minnesota for the first time, and you can get the plates at the DMV.
Oh, you can at that time.
Yeah, right there on the spot.
Oh, I have seen that before.
Yeah.
I have seen that before. Yeah.
So I make plans. Me and my lady friend, we go to the fucking DMV.
Okay.
And we get there.
In town, the one off over by the movie theater?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
That one sucks.
Yeah. So one thing that I didn't bring up is I drove this car from Wisconsin all the way almost to my house and went, oh shit, I didn't call the insurance company to set it up yet. I should do that. We're driving it.
Okay.
So I did that. Again, December 21st. Now flash forward 26 days later when I'm at the DMV. And I get my ticket to get in line to wait
shit. Yeah.
to take the title and switch it over. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, I need to have the insurance information.
Yep, I was just going to say.
I don't have a smartphone. Girly friend does. I'm like, give me your phone. And I log onto their app, because you have to use an app, not a website.
Ugh.
And I log in with my shit, which I then need my phone for because it doesn't recognize the device. So it sends a 6-digit code to my phone that I plug into her phone. So then it gives me my information. And then I look at my vehicles. And I only see 2. And I went, what the fuck? In the next 16 minutes, I expect to be in front of that lady to show her proof of insurance to get my car titled. Fuck. So then I go out in the lobby and I'm frantically calling the insurance office in town here that I am working with.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, here's the deal. Bought a car in Wisconsin. The day I bought it, I called and got a policy put on it. I've not gotten any cards in the mail. I went online to get a copy of the card to show them at the DMV so I could title this thing. It's not showing up. He's like, let me call you back in 10 minutes. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Right. I got 16.
Well, that was my estimate. It wasn't like a counter.
Yeah.
But I'm watching the flow of traffic in the room and guesstimating, because I've been there a number of times over the years, obviously, to this location, and know how fast it goes. So I'm sitting there having a fucking panic attack because it's like, oh my God, why did I not think to double check the fucking insurance the next week? And then he calls me back. I'm like, please tell me this is good news. I'm probably going to be up at that desk in the next 5 minutes. He's like, okay, yeah. So give me a few minutes. I have to call on it. I think I figured out what happened. They put it in the system. It shows that it's active, but it's not showing up on your profile. They didn't finish establishing it onto your profile to link it. So give me a couple minutes. I'm doing something. I got somebody doing some tech shit on the other line, and it'll be good. So in like 5-6 minutes, check it again. Ugh. So I'm sitting back next to her, and she's like, you all right? I'm like, I'm just freaking the fuck out because I just want to title this goddamn car and be done with worrying about when I can drive it again, because I don't want to get pulled over for having an expired out-of-state temporary thing in the window.
Right.
Because I have a title, but it's not technically titled to me yet. Fuck. He calls me again. He says, look again. It's finally working, right?
Nice.
Okay, I see it. They call my name. Another 8 minutes I had to wait. So I had time to sit there and toil some more.
Well, and relax a little bit, too, since you actually gotten it, right?
No, I wasn't relaxed. Once you get me up to a certain amount of panic, it takes a long time for me to fucking wind down. It's just how I'm wired. I go into fight or flight, and I'm like, all right, let's either kill something or take a nap. Basically.
Sure.
And then I get to the window, and the lady's very helpful, and I'm showing her this. She's like, okay, so it's an out-of-state title. I'm like, yeah, I bought it in Wisconsin. She's like, this says Florida. I'm like, okay. Now, I first asked when I got there, is this a salvage? She's like, no, the title's clean. I promise you, one owner, like we said, we sold it on consignment for a friend of the dealership. So I have to explain, so they must have got it down in Florida, driven it up to Wisconsin to the dealership.
Yeah, flatbed.
Because this was somebody's grandmother's car, and they were selling it for her before she went in the home because she couldn't drive anymore. So that person asked their friend at the dealership to sell it on consignment. I bought it December 21st. She's like, yeah, I see that. I'm like, so, Florida to Wisconsin to Minnesota, can I have a title, please? She's like, yeah, we can do that. And then she's like, I got to tabulate the tax. I forgot that I had to fucking pay the tax. Ugh. So I brought my checkbook, and I thought I was going to be paying like, I don't know, $125 maybe at the most.
No,
it ends up being $696 or some shit like that total. And then she's like, would you like regular plates or the blackout plates or the fancy plates or the this plate or the conservation plate? I'm like, just normal ones, please. I just want to get the fuck out of here. She's like, understandable.
You didn't put the blackout plates on there?
Nah, fuck that shit.
Me too. I think it's ridiculous.
I mean, they're kind of cool, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, I don't know. It looks like something you'd see in a video game, so that they don't actually copy a state's plates and catch some sort of threat of lawsuit for using something's likeness without permission from the governing agency.
What's funny is every state has them now.
Do they really?
Yeah. Iowa has them. Yep.
The exact same style of black with white lettering, and it doesn't really look that different from state to state?
Nope.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, you thought Minnesota was the only one? Nope.
Yeah, but you would think that they would make them look enough, just like a black and white version of the state's normal plates. No, they're not.
Nope.
So I get my plates, and I get home, and I put the plates on the car, and I take it for a little drive, because I learned my lesson about letting it sit.
Yeah.
And it was just like, this was just supposed to be me getting the type of car I really wanted. It's only the 5th car I've ever owned.
Nice.
Right.
Yep. And
I'm 42.
Yep.
So it's my 4th Ford. So I had a Buick, and then I've had 4 Fords. I've had good luck, despite what people say about Fords. And it cost me more than I thought it would in the long run. And the only other hiccup is, I wonder how this is going to factor into the financial evaluation for my divorce. When it's like, oh, well, he's got another car now.
Yeah, I always wondered about that, too. Is that an asset? Is that something technically she's half owning?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really want to get into it. It's supposed to be what's hers is hers, what's mine is mine, and what's ours we split.
Supposed to be.
But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Things have gotten kind of fucky.
Well, I was going to say, it doesn't sound like anything has really turned out like it was planned on, so...
Right.
I don't expect that to either.
So I'm not sure when I'll need to buy another car, but I kind of feel like I maybe won't venture across state lines to do that again.
Fair enough.
Unless I'm paying a different way. But never go and pay for a car with cash because of civil asset forfeiture. If you get pulled over on the way there and for some reason they end up asking you where you're going, you say, I'm going to buy a car. They're like, oh, how are you paying? And you say cash. And they'll go, how much is it? They'll automatically assume that you're crossing state lines to buy drugs or launder money for some sort of criminal outfit. They will confiscate your cash and you'll probably never get it back. So always pay with a check that has your name and address, and it might add 20 days to the length of the completion of the transaction. But at least Uncle Sam can't steal it and use it to buy AR-15s for a police department or new light bars for the sheriff's department. But just shout out to Northtown Ford in Menominee, Wisconsin for their patience and wisdom and great deal.
I was going to say, the only other thing you have to worry about is possibly not getting your title in time, I guess.
Yeah.
Don't buy around the holidays.
Well, I don't plan on buying a bunch of other cars anytime between now and like 5 to 6 years from now. So at least when the time comes, I'll have extra cars for my kids that will be driving.
It's interesting you say that because I've only had, I think, 7 cars, and I'm 47. Same type of thing. My dad was the type of guy that went through cars left and right type of stuff, and
he'd buy them cheap, try to fix them up, it wouldn't go, and then he'd sell them off to somebody more.
Crappy car.
Experience, yeah.
Yep, exactly. And I didn't want that same type of deal. And I just happened to, I spent a fair amount of money on my very first car, and it was kind of a lemon. Within a year, I didn't even have it anymore. And from there, like, just every vehicle thereafter, I tried to keep as long as I possibly could. And a lot of them I learned how to do repairs myself on YouTube and shit like that. And yeah.
You drive it till it dies.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's my not super spectacular story. And I left out the part where while we were in Menominee, we explored their Walmart and then had breakfast at Denny's.
Oh, yeah. At their Denny's?
At their Denny's.
And?
It's nicer than our Denny's. And our waitress had a fucking, like, wrist brace on. And I'm like, oh, no, did you hurt your wrist or carpal tunnel? She's like, oh, muscle damage. I'm going to need surgery. And I'm like, fuck, now I wish I wouldn't have asked.
Yeah, now it's a thing, huh?
Yeah.
See, you could have stopped at, like, the trucker, the TNA stop there at Rogers or whatever. There's all sorts of places you could have stopped at, too, and gotten a pretty good meal, besides Denny's and Menominee.
I wanted something that I would recognize the quality of, but that I hadn't eaten at in a while because our local Denny's closed, and then our other local Denny's is in a part of town that I don't like to go to because it's ethnic.
Oh, okay.
And I don't feel like I'm welcome there so much anymore.
Well, maybe if you wouldn't make so many slurs when you walked in there.
It's not like I'm like, give me a moons over my hammy, my ninja. Like, which one of you goddamn Venezuelans in the kitchen is going to make my hash browns? Yeah, I don't really do that.
Are you talking the one over by Northtown?
Yes.
Really? I haven't been to that one in a while.
Don't ever go to the mall ever again.
There is anything left in that mall?
There is.
Yeah.
But it's...
a pet store.
It's bad. It's a bad mall.
Yeah. Well, it was not the greatest ever, really. Is Hot Topic still there?
It is. It is. If you like walking by carts that sell sunglasses or T-shirts or jewelry or cell phone cases, and they are being manned by Middle Eastern people staring at a movie on a fucking laptop, then Northtown Mall in Blaine is for you.
Aggressive sales tactics.
If you like eating your food court pizza or chow mein, well, urban youth are screaming at each other across the thing and a fight's about to possibly break out, Northtown Mall in Blaine, Minnesota is for you.
I thought they had like a whole like area where you had like little kids, like a little like play area next to the food court, like little kid area.
No,
and
that's
stuff.
Far away from
Is
the
it?
riffraff.
They moved that now? Okay.
I don't even know if they have it anymore. I'm sure somebody stole a kid.
Oh.
That's over by the pet store you're thinking about. But yeah, that shit. Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It? That is at What Do We Call It? You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/What Do We Call It podcast show For the, what do we call it, podcast, I'm Jmann.
This is Steiny.
And that's the end.